Okay, so this is the level 1 class, Thursday night class, where my laptop broke. So sorry about that, but we're gonna, you can do it at any time you want now. So you've got this is yours to use. It's just the class we've been doing. Just sitting up tall, just sitting onto the sit bones. And then just take a breath in, so breathe in. And exhale, release. Just a few breaths. Just let the lungs expand. Let the tummy move, let the diaphragm drop down. Exhale, release. And then on the next exhale, just going to start to move the lumbar spine just in a slight curve. And then inhale, lifting back up, opening the chest. Exhaling, just coming off the sit bones. Inhaling, lifting, opening the chest. Exhaling, rolling, tucking the tailbone. Inhaling, finding that little lift in chest open. Exhaling to roll. Inhaling to lift. One more time. This time, just take the arms away if that's okay for you. And then just staying there, just dropping the ribs, bringing the pubic bone closer to the ribs and releasing. Bringing the pubic bone closer to the ribs and releasing. Tucking the tailbone and releasing. Not releasing, don't release. Keep that connection and then roll all the way back up. Then lift and open the chest. Let's do that one more time. Tucking the tailbone, rolling off the sit bones, coming through into that curved position. Deepen the curve, and then release. Deepen, and then release, deepen. Keep the curve. Come all the way back up. Lift the arms if that's okay for you and your shoulders. Breath in and exhale, circle the arms around behind. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, circle the arms around and behind. We're going to go one more time. Inhale. Exhale, circle. Roll all the way down. Coming through that little curve that you were in before and coming down to rest on the mat. I'm going to grab my head cushion. You might use a towel or a little cushion, just something to keep the head up in line with the spine. Some of you might not need one. So just see how that feels. From here, just going to rock the lower back into the mat so my tailbone lifts. And let the weight come back onto my tailbone. A little rock in and a little release. Just a couple more. And then from there, just letting the tailbone tuck under, rolling up through the spine, just as we normally would. Coming to lift up through to the base of the shoulders-ish. Pausing at the top, checking the weight in the feet, checking the hips are level, and checking the rib cage is soft. And then as you exhale, just softening the throat, softening the chest, and rolling the spine all the way back down to the tailbone. Exhaling to roll, inhaling to stay, exhaling to roll back down. Just mobilizing through the mid-spine, finding the lift and the opening through the hips, the legs reaching forward. From there, I'm just going to drop the hips a little and then press and open through the hips. Remember to keep the upper body pretty much as it is. And it's just this lift and open through the hips, a tiny little pulse. And then a lift, you'll feel the bottom and the back of the legs working, and then rolling all the way back down. We'll go again with a little pulse at the top, rolling up through, staying there, seeing if you can open or send the hips up, and then just releasing. Don't go so much that it comes into your lower back. If you're feeling anything in your lower back, come out of it and reset the position. And make the movement much smaller, rolling down. From here we'll go up one more time, rolling up through the spine, lifting up through the ribs. Taking the arms back, Reaching the arms backwards, lengthening the knees forward and laying the spine back down into the mat. Coming all the way down and the arms come back. Let's do one more, that feels nice. Peeling up, feeling the ribs lift, bit by bit. Arms reach up and over. Exhale, rolling the spine back down. And then bringing the hands back down to the mat. Let's take a moment, hug the legs in. Let the lower back lift. Little rock side to side. One hand on each knee, mobilizing around the hip joint. From there tonight, we did a little stretch of pulling the leg in towards the hip and then letting the weight come down onto the tailbone. Working on flexing at the hip joint, but also lengthening through the other thigh. Exhaling, pulling in. Inhaling, releasing. Exhaling, pulling in. Inhale, releasing. We also did a little bit of a length through the back of the leg, so exhaling, stretching it through the leg. Inhaling to release back down. Exhaling, lengthening. Inhaling, releasing. Just check the weight into the hips. See if you can drop the thigh bone down into your hip socket. And then last time, I'm coming back in. Let's change over. So exhaling, pulling the leg into a flexed position, lengthening out through the opposite thigh, and then just releasing the weight onto the tailbone. Exhaling, coming in. Inhaling and releasing. Exhaling in. Inhaling, releasing. One more. From there, holding the hand back in the thigh, lengthening the leg up. I know you can't see the top of my foot, but I've just got my foot normal. I haven't flexed the foot. You can flex the foot if you want to. That'll add a nice stretch through the back of the leg. One last time. And then from there, just bringing the leg back in. Bringing both feet back to the floor. So hands, excuse me, hands come behind the head. From here, we're just going to exhale on the head. Feel the dropping down of the chest. Feel the lift and the articulation up through the spine. Breath in there. Exhale, roll and lay the spine back down. Exhale, nodding, dropping the chest, peeling each vertebra away. Not a great deal's happening elsewhere. There's a little bit of control to keep the pelvis in neutral. There's a little bit of control, but nothing much. I'm really focusing on the mobilizing of through the upper spine. So a little lift up and over. And then laying the spine back. Exhaling. Just going to do one more time. Exhaling. And then coming back down. Just keeping the hands where they are. I don't really need my cushion because my hands are there. But again, if you feel too low that your ribs lift and your back arches, then pop your cushion back. The legs come together. Just going to take the legs over to the side, coming into a hip roll. And then exhaling, bringing the ribs back first. Inhaling, coming into that little hip roll. Exhaling, coming back to the center. Going, inhaling. Exhaling to come back. So this time, I'm just going to let my head turn in opposition and my arms turn into the opposite rotation. And then come back in. And again, as the legs go to my left, I'm turning my body to the right. And then back in. Exhale. Feels nicer to exhale and stay on the inhale. And then exhale back. Exhale back. We'll just do one more to each side, rotating around, knees together. Coming back. Last one. You've got the option to do that with the arms by the side of the body. You can just do the rotation that way, which will feel nicer for some of you. If if the mid-back's feeling a little bit tight today, you might just want to go with the arms there, and that's absolutely fine. From there, I'm going to come back into that lifted curl-up position, just finding a little bit of height and lift through the spine. And then just bring one leg into a knee fold, and then the other. So just doing that tabletop knee fold. I'm not really in tabletop, I'm a little bit closer in the hip joint. So I can feel a little bit of pressure down into my lower back. Just going to pull on the legs like we did earlier, and then just keep that height through the spine. From there, it's an exhale, and I just maintain what's happening in the tummy, and I come back in. So I'm maintaining toe, and then I'm maintaining the contact of my lower back to the mat. I'm also not breathing effectively as I'm talking. We'll do one more to each side. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Moving down, just hug the legs in, let the body rock, let the head release. Body absorb that sensation. And then from there, going to come into that not complicated one, but it had a few stages to it. We did it earlier, we did it last week. Let me show you it again, and then you can do it in your own time. So the leg comes into a knee fold, whichever leg. Find a little curl up and lift. And then I just bring one foot to the floor, bring it back in, bring the heel in towards the back of my thigh, and then peel the tailbone off the floor, exactly the same as you would in a spine curl, opening up through the hip. And then returning the spine back to the floor, all the way back to the tailbone. The foot comes down and the head comes down. Exhale, the head and the leg, they can come together if you want to. Tapping the foot to the floor, maintaining control here. Heel to the thigh, peel the tailbone, pressing into that supporting foot, and then rolling back down, bringing the foot back to the floor. Exhale, head, knee fold, tap, bend, peel the spine. Exhale, lay the spine back down to the tailbone, foot comes down, head comes down. Exhaling, curling forward into a knee fold, toe tap, fold back in, heel to the back of the leg, peeling the spine up through, exhaling, coming back down. Two more, so exhale. Last one. Coming down, just stretch the arms away, stretch the legs away. A little bit of length through the spine. And then I'm just going to take a hold of the back of the legs. Just start to lift the tailbone, lift the head. Start to rock the spine up to sitting. Alternatively, just taking the legs, rocking side to side, and coming around. Catch yourself on the side, and come up to sitting that way. Whichever way feels best for you tonight. From here, back into sitting. We're going to come into a version of spine stretch forward. So I've been doing it with you guys with the legs bent, so I'll carry on with that version. So breath in, exhale, nodding the head, breastbone draws back, feel the peel of the spine up and over. Coming over the legs, breath in at the bottom. Exhale, press down into the sit bones and float the spine back up to sitting. Exhaling, rolling through the spine. Inhaling, exhaling, rolling back up. Exhaling, rolling down. Not sure why I'm doing it with my eyes closed, but it seems to be happening. So exhaling, rolling down. Inhale, exhale, coming back. I'm just going to do two more. So really enjoy that movement at the bottom where you can utilise the space at the back of the lungs to breathe in. And then exhale, coming all the way back up. Just a little rotation there, just turning the chest, rotating. Seeing if you can turn the rib cage and the breastbone. So just taking the arms out of it. Quite often people go with the arms a little bit more than the spine. So just see if you can ease into that rotation. Last one. And then from there, the legs come a little wider. And traditionally it's sore. This is the exercise we come into. But again, you're going to keep the legs slightly bent. You, by all means, you can straighten them if that feels absolutely comfortable and you're in neutral really well. But we've been doing it with the legs bent, so let's stay with that. I'm going to rotate towards my left leg. So my breastbone is pointing towards my left leg. From here, I'm just going to reach my right arm over my left leg, and then I'm going to reach the other arm out behind me. And I'm going to come back up and come back in. So I'm going to reach the, I'm over my right leg. I'm going to reach the left arm forwards, and then the right arm's going to reach back. And then I come back up. We've actually been doing it when we rotate, and we've been diving both arms forward, which is equally as nice. So you can choose, you can come into the version that we've been doing, or you can mix it up and you can come into rotation, one arm forward, one arm back, and you get that stretch and opposition, and then come back up, rotate, and reach, and then come back up. So from there, we've been bringing the legs together, and then rolling down, coming down onto our side. So I've got my head cushion here, but I'm just going to use my arms. Make sure you can see my feet. Okay, so just setting the body up into neutral. I use my cushion. And then finding a bit of length through the body. So length in the waistline, length in the legs, reaching out from there. From here, we've been taking both legs and reaching both legs and lifting and then lowering. So it's been a lift and a lower, and just kind of isolating this movement at the hip joint. So the upper leg moving in the hip and the lower leg moving in the hip joint. And then from there, we've been taking both legs, reaching them away as if I'm pulling both legs away, floating the arm up, finding your balance, and taking a few breaths. And then from there, we've been coming into bending both legs. See if you could just check in with your pelvis that you haven't tucked the tailbone under and gone into a posterior tilt. Just check that you're in neutral and pelvis still. And then we flex the top leg forwards at the hip joint, and then we extend back at the hip joint. So just opening through the hip joint there, trying to undo a lot of the sitting that tends to come with being at home a lot at the moment. Maybe I'm just speaking for me, but if it's the same for you, if you're sitting more than normal, it's been nice to open out the hips. So just from there, and getting you to check in that you're not thrusting the ribs forwards and back, that you're just isolating the movement at the hip joint. So, and then we'll just do one more. And then from there, I've been getting you to come up onto the elbow. Just letting the ribs sag down. So you come into a bit of a side stretch through the body. And then lifting back up. And just again, just coming into a side stretch the other way. So it's not a movement we do very often. Kind of enjoying that stretch. Just watching your shoulder as you come down there. If it feels uncomfortable, don't go quite as far. And a little lift. So I just want you to find the placement of the spine, neither sagging down, nor over lifting up. So just finding that alignment through the spine. with a little bit of pressure into the elbow, just to keep the shoulder muscles engaged. Well, they're working anyways, but just to try and engage around the lower shoulder muscles. And from there, the top leg reaches forwards. I'm going to flex the foot this time, so go with a flat foot and flex forwards at the hip joint, and then open and reach the leg behind with a pointed foot. Again, I'm trying, hopefully successfully, to keep the upper body fairly stable. So you can add in the upper body as well, but for now, let's just focus on moving at the hip joint. So just coming forwards at the hip joint and then extending back at the hip joint. Let's do one more. From here, we take the leg behind, and I've been asking you to turn the ribs, turn the upper body so that the breastbone reaches forwards. The top leg reaches behind, and I've just been asking you to reach the leg, really lengthening and lengthening out through the leg, opening through the hip, and just a little pulse a few times. So if I keep talking, it doesn't feel like very many. And then maybe one more or two more. And then bring the leg back in. We've been taking that foot and crossing it over the knee, the opposite knee, and coming into a little bit of a stretch through the bottom, through the hip. And if that doesn't feel right for you, then I've been giving you the option of coming onto the mat and coming into the stretch, either with the foot down or with the foot up, whatever you feel works best. And then from there, just trying to remember that everything that we've done, I think that's right. And then from there, you spin over and come onto the other side. But you can pause it and do the same on the other side. You don't need to repeat that for you, I'm sure. And then from there, we've been coming around onto hands and knees. So coming into 4-point kneeling. And then I've just been letting the chest drop down, lifting up through the spine. So letting the shoulder blades move and then coming back up. And again, just finding neutral spine each time. So just finding that lift and that pressure through, the press into the hands and the lift up through the head. And then just be sliding one leg away. So just reaching the leg out, just lengthening through the leg. Just lengthening the leg, opening through the hip, trying to keep neutral, so trying to keep stable in the back and in the tummy, just trying to keep all of that neutral, pressing into the arms. And then going with the worst leg first, taking the leg a little higher. So as you open through the front of your hip joint, you'll start to find a little bit of movement. And the next part of the body, the next part of the kinetic chain will be the lower back. It will start to move too, and that's okay. You won't remain in neutral. And then we've been bringing the leg back to the floor, reaching the leg back to neutral, and then reaching the leg a little higher, tapping the leg out to the side, lifting back up, tapping to the other side. Lift and tap, lift and tap. It's really tempting to let the head drop, let the chest down, but really keep the pressure into the arms. From there, we come back out of that position, just come off the wrist, just circle the wrist for a little bit. Turn the palm up, stretch the other way. Useful if you're on your laptop all day or on your phone all day, which I seem to be doing now, not normally. And then we'll come to the other side. So just stretching the leg away, finding control, the arms, the lift through the spine. Stretch the leg out, find that lift to neutral, and then find that lift beyond neutral, lift and open through the leg, and then lower back down. So, and then lift and lower. And that first one, I've been tapping over to the floor behind. You don't have to, you can just do the lift and lower. Just trying to open the hip in a slightly different way. And then just one more to each side. Lift and lower. And then hopefully that gives us enough opening in the hip joint so that when we come to lie down on our tummy, the hips open pretty well rather than the hips being like that. So rather than being in that position, that you can open the hips out. Just have a little shuffle around on the mat, let the hip joint open from there. Just going to come into that tiny chest lift. So working through the mobility of that section of the spine. So from here, lift the head, lift the chest, and lift the breastbone. And then laying that down. Exhale it. And then laying that down, whichever breath feels best. Often it's an inhale to come up, but I actually like coming up on an exhale. It seems to work better for you, so you choose which breath helps you. So get that same spinning of the collarbones, the spinning of the ribs that I talk about in class. Just do a couple more. And then the last one. And then coming back down. We've been coming into straightening the legs, bending the legs, trying to keep the front of the hip crease onto the mat. And then we've just been going pulse, 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 and really trying to keep all of this stable. Sometimes it happens where people go, pulse, I can't really do it, where you kind of jar into the back. But actually, that doesn't really change. It's a stretch away of the legs. As I stretch the legs away, I really feel like I'm pressing them down so the back of the legs are really active. So it's a bending, pulse, pulse, pulse. Stretch the legs out and then lengthen and lower. Lift, bend, bend, bend. Stretch the leg long and then lower. Let's just do one more. Bend, bend, bend. Stretch. Lower the legs. As the legs lower, let that be the thing that brings you up and lift you. Bend, bend, bend. Reach, lift. And then lower. Bend, bend, bend. Reach. And lower. From there, we're just going to press back. Take a little rest position. Come up when you're ready. Let's just take a cat curve. So let's just come into C curve and a release. Rounding, exhaling, inhaling, releasing. Exhaling to round. Inhale, release. Exhaling to round. Inhaling, release. We'll walk the hands back to the mat. I do think you can see the top of me there, so let me just move the camera. You might not. That's it. Okay. So from there, just getting into that high kneeling position, pressing down into the shins, just finding a little openness through the hips. Reaching forward. I'm laughing because my husband was saying, why are you saying reach forward for an Easter egg? But reach forward for something. It is always Easter. So maybe an Easter egg is what you're reaching. And then from there, just let the head nod. Let the spine just come up and over. So I feel like I'm actually off balance, but it's because I've got a lot of work coming through the back of the legs. Really feel that pressure down, and then just coming into that curve. Sorry, into that straight back. And from your exhale, tuck the tailbone, walk the hands in, roll up through the spine, and at the top, just stay and open the chest up. Exhaling, rolling, articulating through the spine, going all the way down into that 4-point kneeling position, and then exhaling, rolling the spine, coming back up. Lifting the chest, opening. Exhaling, rolling. Let's just do one more. Lifting. And rolling. Coming down from there. Finding that cat curve. Just sinking, or keeping the curve, sinking that back towards your bottom. Get a bit stretched through the lower back. And the rest of the spine. Sinking the bottom back towards the heels, letting the head come down. Either have the hands forward or by the side, wherever feels most comfortable. And just take 3 big breaths there. And then you're finished. Come on back to sitting. And then hopefully, once you've done that, you'll feel a little bit more mobile, a little bit like you did a little bit of work. And you can pause it, you can do as many as you want to, or as little as you want to. Maybe do it in little sections. But I hope that makes up for the lack of internet tonight. Sorry about that. And I'll see you next week. We'll have some other things to add in, some new things to do as well. All right, take care. Bye-bye.